What's up, guys? This is Dan, and this is the story of the $8,000 house. This was back in roughly 2008. I was in my mid-20s around then, and housing prices were so cheap. They were coming down all over the place. I was in Metro Detroit at the time, and this house was right off 7 Mile in Detroit. Not too bad of an area. I actually my friends and I would go to a bar kind of in that area a few blocks away. So I knew the area a bit, and it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't that desirable. So I was just starting my career in real estate then, and I was picking up deals left and right. I had a quad up north in a college town, actually in central Michigan, a couple other in Metro Detroit, but I found this online, $8,000. So I called the realtor and he's like, look, the landlord's out of town. He lives out of state. He needs money. There's been a tenant in there for about 5 years. And me being an idiot in his young 20s, I thought, wow, this is great. This is too good to be true. And it was. So I give him the $8,000 cash. We sign, I close, I go there, I meet the tenants. It's this old guy, retired Chrysler auto worker named Reggie. And he was a chain smoker and he talked all messed up. His voice was all messed up. I'll never forget his voice. It was him, his wife, his adult son, and a bunch of other people. So it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It was a side-by-side duplex, and I bought one half of the duplex. And in Detroit on 7 Mile, around that area, east side, there's a lot of side-by-side duplexes, well, really all over the city. And you'll tell they're not owned by the same person because one side will have a gray roof and the other will have a black roof. So different color roofs on the same building. So I bought one side and I thought, look, this is great. The tenant was paying $700 a month on an $8,000 investment. That's roughly 11% a month gross revenue. That's amazing, guys. So within a year, I paid off my $8,000. So like I said, this is a great deal. This is too good to be true. But month after month, I went in there and I met with him and I talked to his family, and we just had an agreement. Look, here's where to send the check. And he was doing it month after month. I thought he was a great guy. This is great. Okay. So almost a year goes by. And then the problems start. Because obviously you're not going to be making 11% a month in perpetuity. And I was thinking, if I can do this, I'm going to buy 10, 20, 100 of these houses. This is going to be great. Buyer beware. It's not that easy, guys. So the problem started almost a year into it, and the check started coming late. I ended up hiring a management company. They couldn't do anything. They just ripped me off and then hit me with repair bills month after month. So I wasn't making anything on this. So I fired the management company and I went over there. I go, look, Reggie, I'm managing it myself. You need to pay me, man. You can't just live here for free. And he had every excuse in the book. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to use my 401k. I don't have any money. And then a couple months later, his son was in jail. He had to bail him out. And I was like, oh my God, what do I say to this? I'm sorry for your situation, but you can't live here for free. So it went on, and he'd pay me half the rent and then the other half. So he was always a month, 2 months behind. And he'd mail me rent at the end of the month, and then the first would come along and be, hey, Reggie, you got to pay for this month. He's like, no, Dan, I just paid you a week ago. I'm like, that was for the previous month. And it was all this confusion, and it was just nonsense. And I'm like, look, you got to move out, man. There's nothing I can do. I'm just going to board the house up. No one wanted to buy it. And I'm like, look, you have 2 months to get out. That's fair. But I'm boarding it up. I hired a company. And you have to understand, in Detroit during this time, there were companies that would just board up houses. What they do is, I had this company take out the furnace and the water tank and then bring it to my house, and then they board it up. So there were companies that would do that. There were companies that would just go around and garbage pick and scrap. These scrap prices were extremely high during this time. It was such a hectic time to be in or around Detroit. So I told Reggie I'm hiring this company to do it. He's like, all right, he understood. He moved out. He was still moving out when this company came to board it up. They called me like, hey, he's still moving his stuff out. And I was like, board up everything but the front door, let him get his shit out, and then board it up. So we let him get everything out. He said he's moving out. Everything was fine. But what a waste of time and energy. And, I was young, I was dumb, I wasn't experienced. And all I had at the end of it was a vacant boarded up house that I just gave back to the city. And then someone bought it at auction for like $5,000. So, really what I learned is there's no quick and easy money. And that's why I say on all of my videos, especially when I talk about investing, it's just buy quality assets for the long term. Don't go for this quick hit. Like you see me make videos about the Iraqi dinar. Everyone thinks they're going to revalue and be millionaires overnight. That's the quick hit. That's how you get burned. Speculating like that, buying an $8,000 house in the hood of Detroit. It's not going to work, guys. Learn it from me. I've made so many mistakes in this business. I've been in it for almost 2 decades. I've made a ton of money, but I made these mistakes in the beginning. So don't get greedy. Don't go for the quick hit. You're just going to end up with a vacant house and shaking down tenants for money. It wasn't worth it, guys. So I hope you learned from this video. I hope it was entertaining. Leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks a lot.